What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to AFL Advance. This is Josh. I'm just making sure my microphone's on. Okay, we're good to go. And we have made it to week number 12 in AFL. A quick turnaround. Week 11 was a 24-hour advance. Love to see that. Week 12, which is the Thanksgiving slate. And Thursday morning on Thanksgiving starts off with a big NFC North contest as KK the Destroyer's Detroit Lions are 7-3 and they host Mustangs 5-6 Vikings. Now, KK still has a grasp on the lead in the NFC North, did lose last week to my Bears. The Vikings lost last week to the Rams. Both of these teams desperately need this win. For KK, he's got to find a way to keep pace, hold the gap in the NFC North, and keep a stranglehold on the lead in that division. For Mustang, he's approaching desperation time. He fell under 500 last week. If he suffers his 7th loss this week, he's going to have a tall uphill climb in order to get into the playoffs. So the good news for Mustang is he's playing the right team, because you got to catch him, so you might as well play him. Get yourself a win, get him a loss. Unfortunately, I think KK bounces back with a strong victory over the Vikings. The second game on the 3-game Thanksgiving slate takes us to Dallas as Roman's Dallas Cowboys, who are now sitting at 6-4 after a victory last week over Emo's Philadelphia Eagles, will take on RVD's LA Chargers. They are 2-8, just struggling. They got lambasted last week by the Bills. RVD's struggling this year, just having a hard time figuring it out. Roman's really playing well. Now, they only won by 3 points last week against the Eagles. I thought that game would be a little bit more of a blowout, but all that matters right now in Dallas is they're collecting wins. I think they collect another one this week. I wouldn't be surprised if RVD finds a way to get an upset in Dallas, but Roman's playing well. I think he gets himself to another victory. And then the nightcap on the Thanksgiving slate is a big matchup. We've been anticipating this one for a while. It is E-Dub's 6-5 New York Giants, and they take on the 5-5 Washington Redskins in Bailey. And the reason why I kind of laughed there is the Redskins started off 5-0 and have been on a 5-game losing streak, including a really bad loss last week to the Panthers. E-Dub, on the other hand, blew out Danny's 49ers 2 weeks ago, follows it up by losing to Shams Chiefs in week 11. I can't figure either of these teams out. What I can figure out, though, is a 5-game losing streak. I don't think Bailey's that bad of a player, but something's not right in Washington. E-Dub's going to get mad at me because he says every time I pick him to win, he loses. E-Dub, I'm picking you to win. I think the Giants go to Washington and get a big win on the Thursday night Thanksgiving matchup against the Redskins. Let's move ahead to the Sunday 1 o'clock games. Making his AFL return, the first ever AFL Canadian Super Bowl winner, die-hard Atlanta Falcon fan Shadow, and the 6-4 Falcons will play host to the stumbling 4-6 Tampa Bay Bucks and JD. JD's struggling right now with Madden 18. I don't know if he's having a lot of fun right now. I think he's struggling with the way the game plays. And Shadow is going to be all fired up in his debut back with the Falcons. Now, JD is going to probably be motivated to go play his favorite team in real life, but I just don't like the vibes I'm getting from JD right now. I think Shadow's going to be really fired up. He's going to rise up in his debut back. And the Falcons, he jumps into the middle of a playoff race. He's 6-4. Right now they lead the division, but it's tight. All the playoff races in the NFC are tight. Shadow has to win this game in order to keep his Falcons headed toward the playoffs. I think he gets it done. I think the Falcons beat the Bucks. The Battle of Ohio takes place this week in Cincinnati, and it's underway right now as SJR's Bengals, who lost last week on a heartbreaking defeat to the Denver Broncos, they are 4-5. They take on they're 4-6, excuse me. They take on the Cleveland Browns, and I don't even know what the Browns did last week. Let's see. They lost to the Jaguars, so both of these teams are 4-6 and lead the AFC North at 4-6. The good news for these guys is somebody from this division is going to get in the playoffs. The bad news is one of those teams could end up not having a winning record and still win the division, but it doesn't matter. As long as you win, you're in. SJR won the first matchup between these two teams. I think he's going to win the second one. He's struggling. He really had a bad beat last week against the Broncos, had several opportunities to win the game, had plays called back on bad holding calls, ended up losing when a field goal would have won it for him at the end. He got in field goal range twice, and then after bad holding calls brought him back, had a drop on 4th down, and it just wasn't meant to be. It was a frustrating loss for him, a big win for the Broncos. I think he gets back on track this week. I think the Bengals beat the Browns and sweep the season series. Speaking of sweeping the season series, MVP has a chance to do just that as his Titans head to Indianapolis this week to take on Magic's Colts. The Colts are 2-8, a frustrating 2-8, where the Titans are 9-1 now. They had a close scare last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers and flip, but they hung on and get the victory. I think they get another victory this week against Magic's Colts. Now, the Colts played the Titans tough in the first game. I think this game will also be close, but MVP is playing at such a high level right now. I think his Titans are going to find a way to win this game. Shams Chiefs, coming off of a big victory over E-Dub's Giants, have another big dog coming to town this week as Nino's undefeated Bills will travel to Arrowhead. Now for Nino, not much is at stake here. He's 9-0 in his division. Prime, the closest team to him, is 6-4, and not much of a scare there. And Nino would really have to collapse to not win the AFC East. For Sham, though, he's got to keep pace with A-Bomb. A-Bomb's 8-2. Is this the quietest 8-2 in AFL history? We always talk about Stokes, Nino, MVP in the AFC. What about A-Bomb? 8-2, big win over SJR last week. Sham has to find a way to keep pace with him. I don't think he gets it done this week. I know he's been playing decently at times, but Nino's a tall task. I think Nino gets it done, and the Bills beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Let's talk about an AFC East rivalry as Hitman's New England Patriots will play host to Prime's Dolphins. The Patriots are having a really forgettable season, 2-8, lost last week to Bo's Raiders, and now they host Prime's Dolphins, who are starting to turn around a little bit. They're 6-4. They're still very much in the AFC playoff race. In fact, if the season ended today, they would have one of the wild card spots. I think the Dolphins keep it rolling this week. They get a big victory over the Patriots in New England. KJ will make his Carolina Panthers debut as his Panthers head to New York to take on Swag's Jets. Swag's Jets are 2-8, but the last time we saw them on the field, they were dominating JD's Bucks, blew out the Bucks in Tampa Bay. Swag's going to try to make it 2 in a row this week with a victory over one of the best players in AFL history. I don't know much about how KJ is at Madden 18 because he just got back in the league. I don't know how much he's been playing, but historically KJ is always one of the better players. He's just really good at Madden, and he finds himself smack dab in the middle of a division race. His 5-5 Panthers need to get a win this week, so no time for him to warm up with his new team. He needs to get wins. He needs to get enough wins to get into the tournament. I think he gets a win in New York this week in his AFL debut for the season. My Chicago Bears have had back-to-back division wins over the Packers and the Lions, KK and Fisher. Two teams we're still looking up at in the division, but these last 2 weeks have been very beneficial. Now we travel to Philadelphia, and it's a game that we probably should win against the 0-9 Eagles and Emo. Eagles played Cowboys tough last week with Roma, but still managed to lose. Look, I'm not predicting my own games, but if I'm going to be a playoff team, this is a game I have to win. Even without the services of Keith Marshall, Tariq Cohen's going to have to carry the load. I don't predict my own games on this show, so we're going to move on. Joker's LA Rams. They had a big victory last week over Mustangs Vikings. The Rams are still in it at 5-5. They play host to Justin's Saints at 2-7. Now, the Saints have had some hard luck this season. They've had a couple impressive wins, though, against teams that may still make the playoffs. They beat Mustang week 1, they beat my Bears a few weeks back, and then they beat Bailey's Redskins last week, smashed the Redskins. So now Justin has another chance to knock off another team that's heading for the playoffs, or at least has their sights set on the playoffs and is in the playoff race. Unfortunately for Justin, I know he's playing well, but I think when a team has their playoff potential on the line, there's a little bit more desperation there. So I think that's going to lean in Joker's favor. I would not be surprised if Justin pulls the upset, and this game has already kicked off. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Give me Joker, though, in a close, hard-fought matchup. T-Mag Seattle Seahawks, 6-4 after the forced win against the Falcons last week. And they're playing the team that you want to play if you're in second place in your division. They're playing the first place team, the San Francisco 49ers. Last time these two teams met, T-Mag lost a close game. Danny's struggling as of late, though. He got blown out by E-Dub. I don't remember what he did last week. I don't think he played last week. I don't remember talking about him on the previous show. The last time we saw Danny on the field, he was losing to E-Dub. He also lost a game to Reese recently. He needs to turn it around against a team that's right now chasing him in the NFC West. I'm going to call a little bit of an upset this week. T-Mag's playing well, had the big win over Reese a couple weeks back. We don't know what would happen in the game against the Falcons had it gotten played, but it didn't. But Danny's trending down a little bit. T-Mag's trending up. I'm going to go with those trends and say the Seahawks split the season series, and then they will improve to 7-4, knock the Niners to 8-3, and make that a photo finish in that division. Another team in that division, Reese's Arizona Cardinals. They're 4-6, and it's becoming desperation time in Arizona. This is going to be a really fun game, as the Cardinals are 4-6, and they play host to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 6-4. How about Donald Livingston and the Jaguars? We talked about the division of death with MVP and Stokes, and all he's done is go out and win almost every single game he's played that hasn't come against the Titans or Texans. This is another one of those this week. I want to pick Reese in this game because Reese has been playing better. It seems like he's found a new strategy for how to play, and he had a really tough game against Stokes. But something's going on in Jacksonville. I like what I'm seeing out of Livingston. I'm going to put my chips on his side this week. I like what I'm seeing. I like the fight I'm seeing out of the Jaguars. I'm going to roll with the Jaguars, getting a big upset victory over the Cardinals. And if the Cardinals lose this game, that might be sayonara for Reese's season. They're already 4-6. You get their 7th loss on Thanksgiving week. Good luck. Bo's Raiders, big victory last week against the New England Patriots. They play host to the Denver Broncos and A-Bomb. Now, Bo's getting better. He did beat the Patriots last week, as we mentioned, but we keep talking about it. The Broncos, 8-2, a quiet 8-2. Like, nobody's talking about how well A-Bomb's playing. It's time we start talking about it. I think he gets to 9-2 this week with a big victory over the Raiders. I don't even know if it'll be close. I really like what A-Bomb's doing. Seems like he's protecting the ball well. He's finding ways to win close games, and he's beating teams he should beat, and this is a Raiders team he definitely should beat when you look at the standings. Let's go to Sunday Night Football as Flip's Pittsburgh Steelers play host to Fisher's Green Bay Packers. Now, the last time we saw Flip on the field, he was playing Danny's Titans in a very close matchup. Lost late, but held it within 3 points. That's impressive. The last time I saw Fisher on the field, he was losing to my Bears, but I don't know. Did he play last week? Let me go find that. He did play last week. The Packers beat the Ravens last week 24-10. So the Packers need to win because they're still trailing KK the Destroyer and the Lions in this division, and the Steelers really have nothing to play for at this point outside of pride. Although, as I say that, I look at their division and the Browns and Bengals are only 2 wins ahead, so stranger things have happened, I suppose. But the Pittsburgh Steelers would need to win out, and I don't think it happens. I think the Packers win in Pittsburgh. Fisher's playing well. I think they find a way to a victory. Let's go to the Monday night game. Stokes' Texans travel to take on Field of Dreams Ravens. Field of Dreams is another guy. He's 3-6 on the season, but his team is right there in the race given how poorly the rest of his division rivals are doing, and somebody between the Browns and Bengals will lose this week. Tall task this week, though. Hosts Stokes and the Texans. The Texans have found another running back they like a lot in Akeem Hunt. I think the Texans keep rolling. They stay undefeated, and they get a big victory under the lights against the Baltimore Ravens. Guys, that's a look at Week 12. I know things have been interesting in AFL, to say the least. Had a couple ownership changes. I think in the end we'll all be better off for those. So with that, good luck in Week 12. We're moving along rather nicely, and we'll talk to you next time on AFL Advance.